On March 2026, Konami released the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG Limit Over collection, The Rivals. There, we got introduced to a new wave of supports, most of which, but arguably not all, belonging to the rival character of the corresponding season. In this video, I'll break down the new Rokket supports from the last main season of the anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns. Borreload Liberator Dragon is a Link 4 Dark Dragon monster with 3000 attack points. It requires 3 or plus effect monsters, and here's its effects. You can only special summon Borreload Liberator Dragons once per turn. Once per turn, during the battle phase, quick effect, you can place one monster your opponent controls in a zone to discard points to and take control of it. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Once per chain, if this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can target one monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. This is obviously a retrain of the iconic monster Borreload Dragon, the main boss of Revolve, and so it points in the same exact link zones, being left, right and bottom right. This card is nothing short of a miracle. It is strong and fun at the same time, something that is like diamonds nowadays. The first effect follows the Borrel tradition of preventing the opponents from activating cards or effects in response to it. Not only that, but it's also pretty good. It seals an opponent monster without targeting, forever, and without any of your typical mid-card limitations like being unable to attack directly, to use it as link material, etc. Heading over to its second effect, it also is, again, very fun and good at the same time. A Link 4 monster being able to revive itself from the graveyard is alone a really good effect, and the requirement for that is even better. In today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Destroying a monster you control whenever you want, even during your opponent's turn, can be a really good deal for certain decks and archetypes. The once per chain condition is balanced by the fact that Liberator can only be summoned once per turn, so it should be safe from getting spawn banned as soon as it arrives in the TCG. The reason they gave it that condition rather than an hard once per turn effect is pretty simple. As long as it remains in the graveyard, you can spam the effect and detonate Rokket monsters you control with their own effects of self-destruction upon being targeted by a Link monster, practically giving you the ability to trigger every Rokket's effect you control whenever you want. Overall, these effects introduce a new and powerful strategy and dynamic to the deck, while synergizing with it rather than creating new weird combos or unwanted gimmicks. They also indirectly improved Borrel Dragon's effect of summoning a Leaf 4 or lower Borrel monster from the extra deck at the start of the battle phase, making it a menace if left on the field. Borrel Dragon and Access Code Talker are probably still better as generic Link 4 beaters overall, but with Dragoon coming back for the millionth time, and with so many decks loving to self-destruct their own monsters, we could see some use of it in the coming season. The visual design is great. Full art cards have always been a part of tons of different card games, and with good artworks, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards can have them too. The monster's three-dimensional pose alongside the high-quality shading offers a great representation of Borreload Dragon in all of its might. Unlike some other artworks of this expansion, Rokket Recharger on the bottom left of the picture looks a bit like a youngly version of itself, but that's probably due to proportion reasons. Overall, this artwork is really good. Rokket Barrage is a level 5 Dark Dragon monster who possesses 1500 attack and 1600 defense points, and here's what it does. You can set one Dark Dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard, except a level 5 monster, special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Dark monsters. When a Link monster's effect is activated that targets this card on the field, quick effect, you can destroy this card, then special summon up to one Rokket monster, each from your hand, deck, graveyard, and or banishment, except Rokket Barrage. You can only use each effect of Rokket Barrage once per turn. It doesn't require much thinking to understand why this monster is extraordinarily good. Starting with the first effect, summoning itself from the hand while sending any Dark Dragon monster from the deck to the graveyard, as a cost, is alone extremely powerful and advantageous. While there are a lot of good targets remaining on the archetypes side, it is finally possible to bring out Double Disruptor Dragon. While Double Disruptor is in theory good for the deck, it basically saw zero play for the simple fact that it is completely unaddable and basically unsummonable until you're further in the combo, and it will be a complete and total brick until then. That is, until now. Borreload Riot Dragon is another potential target, being a ritual monster and also having a graveyard effect, but you will most likely add it to the hand using a new Overframe Link monster that shines here more than in its own deck, of which will be discussed in another video. Going back to Rokket Barrage, being able to send bricks to the graveyard as a cost definitely elevates the deck, but as if it weren't already good enough, the second effect is one, if not the strongest effect upon self-destruction of the whole Rokket archetype. If used at the right moment, it has the potential to bring out up to 4 different Rokket monsters from basically everywhere, even from the deck and banishment, giving it both a started and a recycled attribute and skyrocketing its own versatility. The artwork is a horde of Rokket monster, representing its function as a cluster card rather than a single new monster. The shades and perspective of the monsters are also good and pleasant to look at. Overall, this card clashes with Borreload Liberator for the title of best support of the bunch, but fortunately, you can play them both. Not only that, they combine amazingly. The last card of the bunch is a quick spell card called Triple Borrel Revolve, and there are 3 main reasons to why you should play it. Activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of Triple Borrel launch once per turn. Shuffle 1 Dragon monster from your graveyard into the deck. Then, you can special summon 1 Rokket monster with a different name from your deck. Shuffle 2 Dragon monster from your graveyard into the deck. Then, add 1 field spell from your graveyard to your hand. Shuffle 3 Dragon monster from your graveyard into the deck, then shuffle up to 3 monsters from your opponent's graveyard into the deck. Each of these effects alone are really good for the deck. Shuffling into the deck Dragon monsters is pretty helpful since the deck never had a lot of recycle effects up until now. The first one only requires 1 Dragon to be returned in the main deck, and it's basically a copy of Quick Launch without any of the downsides. The only significant difference being the summoned monster having to have a different name, something that will probably never be a problem. Going over the second one, it will probably be the least used of the 3, but it's good to finally have a way to add back from the graveyard the field spell, just in case. The third and last effect is a solid graveyard removal. Being able to shove back into the deck up to 3 monsters from your opponent's graveyard can be decisive during a duel. While generally not as strong as Called by the Grave, it can even surpass it if used at the right time and against the right decks, and fortunately for you, you can always play both. Overall, these 3 effects really are the cherry on top of the new support. It's almost as if they made 3 different cards given their high diversity among each other. The first one is a combo starter, the second one is good for recovery, while the third one is an interruption to your opponent. Only 1 card, easily addable from the deck and with a cost that is basically a gift. This increases the card's versatility by a lot, making it a must play inside the deck. On the other side, there's its design. It's literally Borrel Sword Dragon T-posing. The artwork isn't even that bad, it looks high quality like all the rest, but it really has nothing to do with its effects and let alone its name. A theory of this could be in the intention of imitating Pokemon's card design, which is full of non-Pokemon cards that are still a character of some kind. Regardless, Borrel Sword Dragon is really out of place and doesn't have anything to do with the rest. At least Double Interlock had Borreload Riot Dragon shooting out 2 Rokket monsters, one representing fusion summoning, while the other representing ritual summoning. It's just weird to activate a recovery spell card that is simply Borrel Sword Dragon. This card isn't anything iconic of the series either. There are way more memorable cards in Revolver's arsenal. Could you imagine how cool of a full art or Retrain of Mirror Falls would have been? The only actual reference here is the 3 reasons saying Revolver often uses in the anime, and it's such a shame the artwork doesn't represent that at all. Overall, they really raised the bar with these 3 new cards. which will undoubtedly take a spot inside the Rokket deck, and maybe even in other archetypes too. They could have been practically perfect if it wasn't for the choice of artwork that, while certainly being of high quality, really lacks any trace of creativity. On a side note, it's sad that this is the best we can get. Rokket players won the lottery with this one, but the same can be said for the majority if not all the other archetypes that receive new supports. There is a serious inconsistency problem inside Limitover. While some archetypes receive godly supports that evaluate the deck, others receive useless cards with hollow effects, meaningless reterrains, and so much more. Nowadays, getting new supports that are creative, strong, and fun, all at the same time, basically became a rarity of its own, and Limitover is nothing other than the best representation of Konami's creative limits. Let me know if you want to know more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Terrible decision making. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good one.